Live in 3, 2, 1. This is Olivia On Air, episode number 26. I got Olivia on this evening. How are you doing, Olivia?
I'm doing better, like sickness wise, but I'm really tired today because I wrote an 8-page paper today. I wrote a 6-page one yesterday, and I worked the weekend. And then I wrote on Friday. I wrote like a 4-page essay thing. So
Go ahead. How many pages was that? Say it again.
which one?
All of them. Give me the total. That sounds
Oh.
like about 20 pages or so. It doesn't.
So Friday was 4 pages. Yesterday was 6, and today was 8, and then tomorrow will be 4, I think.
Wow. So it's 22. Wow. It's more than 20. It's 22 pages. That's a lot of
Uh,
pages.
yeah, I mean, all my professors are thinking like, let's do the essays instead of the multiple choice.
Well,
Um, but yeah, I
I,
mean, they're not timed though, so that's kind of nice.
I can say when I was teaching, I used to do the essay questions. I gave up after a while, not because it can get kind of time consuming trying to grade everything. So I went back to the multiple choice because it made it easier for grading.
Yeah, I usually really appreciate a mix of both. Like, if I mean, my favorite classes had like a mixture of maybe like usually it's like 40 multiple choice or 35 multiple choice or something, and then like 4 short answers, so you don't have to write a full essay, but you can write like a paragraph or two, and that makes it like more balanced. I think everyone kind of likes that.
When is the semester up? Is it very well, it's very soon, obviously. Is it in the next few days or
Tomorrow I think is like, I think, well, the 11th was the like official last day for classes, but tomorrow is, I think, the last day for assignments and everything. So,
oh, I see. I see. Well, are you going to be relieved? Are you going to be feel better? How are you going to feel about this?
I I think I'm going to feel a lot better. I hope I'm going to take a really big nap or sleep really well.
I bet. The yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. The and now when does the are you going for the next semester? Are you starting for the next semester in January?
Yes.
So how many when is that about the 15th or so, roughly?
I think so.
Okay. When I was teaching, I think that's roughly when the semester began was around I think about halfway through January, if I remember correctly. And they always found it funny. I assume it's the same where you are. They would call it the spring semester, even though it's the middle of winter. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's confusing. I feel like fall and winter semester names are confusing a
mhm.
little.
And I assume it's the you have the same like it's the same standard 3 semester. Like you have spring and then you have a summer one, which is kind of lax, and then it's like lax in the sense that it's not as many students take it, I assume. And then there's a fall one, which is where most of the students come back and where everyone's back and ready to go full swing again, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think I remember hearing there was another college that had a 4 semester thing. I don't remember where that was, and so that was like I thought that was kind of interesting. I think most of them followed the 3 semester one now. So,
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard of the 4 semester, so that's cool.
yeah. Now, as far as as far as your course of studies, how many more years do you have left to go?
Um, I'm not really sure. Um, Mainly because my first year was like totally thrown off by COVID, and like mental health and stuff like that. So at least a year. I'm definitely
Okay.
not going to be done like this semester. So,
No, as far as the being, I know you said you'll be happy to have this semester done because you'll have a nice break and everything. You'll be able to sleep. How about when the school is completely done? How will you feel then?
I think that'll be like the best, most relieving moment ever. School is such a burden. I don't enjoy it. I love learning, but the way that it's set up, it's like every turn I feel like it's not meant for me, you know? But I'm this far in now. I can't stop.
So
You know?
you're full time, right? You do full time.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have like multiple classes for each semester? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. When I went to school, I took it at a different pace when I was actually learning, not teaching. And so I took like a few classes at a time rather than being a full-time student. I worked full-time and then took classes at night. So, and it was a little, I would say it was probably less stressful than what you're going through. That's for sure. So,
That might be a better option. But I do wish I could magically get like wildly rich and simply drop out. And then I could go, and travel and sleep and stuff like that.
uh-huh.
But isn't
The,
that everyone's dream?
yes, go ahead and win the lottery. I wasted so much money hoping that would happen. I stopped playing the lottery recently, so I don't do it anymore. But I was hoping, oh yeah, one day it's going to happen. Yeah, yeah, sure it will. So I was just spending
I've
more money than I was. Then I was spending way too much money on that. What I do is I buy a season ticket that would last for several months, and I was like, why am I doing this? So
I've never met someone who's won the lottery, and I'm starting to think that they're actors, the people who like sign the checks on TV or whatever, or the people who claim that they win on the radio or something like that. I'm starting to think that they're lying because
you know,
I've never seen anyone win that.
the people who win the lottery, I think you can tell the difference between the real ones and the fake ones because real ones act really stiff on camera because they're not used to being energetic. The phony ones would be the ones that are vibrant and jumping around and all happy and everything. That would be
Right.
that would, in my opinion, that would be indicate that they might be fake. And the genuine ones would be like really stiff because and just like not emotionless because normally when you watch a game show, you'll see the energetic people because they want the show to look lively. They don't want the dead people. The people are just going to be stiff and in front of a camera, emotionless. And when it comes to a lottery, you can't choose. Well, I guess technically, if you're some, maybe you could, but you're not supposed to be able to choose who wins. So you get the average person who's just very lifeless on camera. So,
Right. Well, yeah, that's true.
so the all right. Well, did you want to take a look at your food discovery for this week?
Yes, it was
Oh, hold
pretty
on.
lame. I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt you. Before we go any further, I don't want to forget for those who want to support our shows, don't forget that we have an affiliate. That's NordVPN, and that's the link for that is in the description below. So if you click on that, they have a deal. You can get a better deal than if you click on the regular website. I believe. Don't quote me. I think it was a little less than $4 a month, so which is a much better deal than what they're normally offering, which is pretty nice. And the NordVPN, I've said this before. I used it for quite a while, and it worked very well. I never had any issues with it. It works well, and if you're trying to hide your location, so if you want to watch maybe if you want to watch movies from another location, I never actually did that, but I know people said they have. If you're trying to just keep websites knowing from where you are, it'll help you. And I believe it also helps in protecting your identity in certain ways as well. I can't give you specific details on that because I'm not sure how that works. So I'm being honest when I say that. So, but if you click on the link and you get the service, the affiliate link is below. That will help us run the show, and we really appreciate that. So,
Thank you.
okay. So let's getting back to your food discovery.
Yes, it was pretty lame. I'm not gonna lie. It looked good in the store because, well, I was tired and I think I was also sick. And the bottle was shaped fun, but I didn't read it also. um, but it's not very exciting. Um, it's not bad. It's just like I probably wouldn't buy it again.
Blackberry. I know. I used to drink. I used to play soccer when I was a kid. My mom and my dad forced me to play soccer, and it was not something I really enjoyed doing, but I did it. And I remember at the end of the soccer games, we would have something called we'd have a variety of sodas that would be given to us. Like one set of parents was it was every game like it would be the responsibility of a different group of parents to bring in the sodas for the end of the game. And one would always bring in a mix of like grape what was the other one? Grape, strawberry, whatever. And one was blackberry. And for some reason, I really loved blackberry. So I'm not sure if this is going to taste the same as what I had. Well, obviously, I won't be able to taste it right now, but for some reason, blackberry, when I saw that, it just reminded me of that. I was like, oh, I loved blackberry. So you're saying this is not that good?
It's mediocre. It's like I would have wanted a more, how do I explain it? Well, this isn't 100% juice. Um, and so I think if it was like 100% blackberry juice or something like that, it would have tasted probably better. Um, this just, it was more on the sugary side. And when I drink juice, I always drink 100% juice. And my favorite is apple juice. So yeah, you can see that contains 8% juice. So it was more on the sugary side and it tasted more artificial. And so like if that's kind of what you're interested in, then this probably would be good. But I think it was just the fact that I was expecting something different made it taste less good.
Now you say 100% juice. I like apple juice as well. There was when I was a kid, I don't know if this still exists. There was a juice called Juicy Juice. You ever hear of
Yes.
that? Oh, that still does that still exist?
Yeah.
Okay. My mother used to buy that all the time because she said it was I assume it was 100% juice. I don't know, but I was told it was. Is that do you know?
I'm not sure. You can always tell by you can see just above the nutrition facts label. There's if you go and you look at juice, there's always a contains percent juice. And that is how you find out how much juice is actually in the drink that you're drinking. And so I always get 100% juice because my dad always said that if it's not 100% juice, it's a scam. So, and
Yeah.
they're just trying to give you water with a little flavoring.
And
Um,
I'm looking at the ingredients: water, sugar, corn, modified corn
yeah,
starch.
yeah,
Excuse me. Yeah, that's a lot of that's a lot of junk right there. So, uh,
yeah. So I took a few sips. I didn't finish it. It was not. It was like very sugary. It just wasn't that delicious. But it's a fun bottle, so I can take the label off and save it for something.
fun
Not,
bottle, just
yeah,
for the shape alone. Is that what you mean?
yes.
Gotcha. The now usually with your food your your food discoveries, this is from a different country. Is this from a different country?
I'm not sure. I found it in the I think it was the international foods aisle. I'm not 100% sure. Um but I haven't seen it before, so I would assume it's at least not as popular as most other drinks and stuff.
I've never seen it before as well. So I the it's probably it looks like an American. That's why the reason I say it is because it has that. This all the ingredients on the back look like it's something you see in an American label. So when you buy, that's good. That's a question to ask. When you buy the foods from other countries, do they have these kind of labels on them?
Right. I'm not
Uh,
sure.
so I mean, let's see.
Well, it has red 40 in it, so it's not from Europe. It's not from at least England or France because I'm pretty sure both those countries have banned red 40. Oh,
Oh,
it says it says Colombia on it.
oh, I see it there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can get a little tighter on that. Uh, well, oh, there we go. Imported and distributed by something. Ibera, I think. So okay. There you go. So interesting. So it's probably imported, and then this company in Miami, Florida. So it's a foreign drink, but it's brought in, and probably the label is American after the fact, after they imported it in, I guess. So
Right.
what about that Red 40? I've never heard that. Why is that banned?
Oh, red 40 has been linked to cancers, certain cancers, and like let me look it up so I don't say anything blasphemous or whatever.
Red. It says FD&C red number 40, and then also FD&C red. I'm sorry, blue number 1. Okay, it's interesting.
Um,
Red number 40. You got me curious about that one. Oh, let's see what's on the bottle here. Just little numbers, nothing extraordinary.
I'm
Maybe.
not seeing. Oh, here we go. It's of low concern to the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. Um. Oh, maybe I'm thinking about something else then.
Oh, I would think, well, since it was imported from, was that Colombia? So your statement could still be correct about it being not from Europe, obviously, or not meant for Europe anyway. So in that sense, I mean, so, but as far as yeah, I'm just curious. It's not a big deal. I never heard that before, so I was wondering what that meant. I find it interesting that it would be linked to something, and then I guess the maybe the FDA doesn't really consider it that much of a threat, or so I guess as other countries do. So
Right. I'm not actually sure then. Huh.
now,
I don't know. It's
how many
some
bottles?
about brain health. There are things about allergies. It might just be of low concern. And I know some people are actually, I think I knew someone in high school that was actually like very allergic to red 40 and they couldn't eat anything or drink anything with red 40 in it. So
Hmm. Well, how many bottles did you buy?
just that one.
And it's just it's not like carbonated or anything, is it?
No.
Now the sodas I had were obviously carbonated, so maybe that's probably why I liked it much more. I would probably I might feel the same way just by drinking something that's kind of flat and with not having that fizz. So
Yeah, it probably would have been fun carbonated.
yeah. Did I tell you about Minute Maid fruit punch soda? Did I ever tell you about that?
I don't think so.
Minute Maid fruit punch. I think they still make Minute Maid fruit punch, correct? I think.
Yeah.
The for back in the 1990s they made Minute Maid fruit punch soda, which was the same, but it had the fizz to it, and I got hooked on it. I couldn't stop drinking it. I drank it all the time. I was seriously addicted to the stuff. And then they stopped making it, and I was like, oh. Once I went into the store, I bought it, and they pulled it off the shelves, and I said, what happened? And they said, well, we're not going to sell it anymore. The distributor doesn't want it. And the woman went she said, well, we do have like about 8 six packs, like they came in little 6-pack packages left in there. Do you want them? And I said, sure. So she bought all of them out for me so I could have them. So I bought about 8 of them. That was the last time I ever had them. And,
Oh.
but it was, I tried after that, they never made it again. I tried mixing it with like seltzer water and I could never get the right taste. So I never had it again, but I was seriously addicted to that stuff. So, I tried drinking the regular Minute Maid fruit punch, and it's with it talking about the lack of fizz. I just couldn't. It just wasn't the same. So I couldn't get hooked on that. So.
Maybe you could get like a soda stream and put the Minute Maid fruit punch in there and then see if it works. I'm not actually sure how soda stream works, but
Soda stream. You mean like at a fountain, like a store where you like they mix it like at McDonald's where they mix it together like that?
oh, it's soda stream is like a it's supposed to be an at home. I guess it's a carbonation thingy. I don't know how to explain it, but basically, I think they sell SodaStream bottles of liquids that you carbonate at home, so that I don't know, but it's um I don't know. I thought it was pretty well known. I just kind of see it at Target and stuff like that every now and then.
Oh, I wouldn't be. It's probably just me. I'm sure it probably is. I'm just not someone that's into that, so that's probably why I didn't know what it was. So
Yeah, I mean, it's never been like very intriguing. It just kind of carbonates. liquids, which is, it's fun. But yeah, you could get like a something that carbonates liquids, and see if that works.
Okay. But here's a picture right here. Somebody has a picture of Minute Maid fruit punch soda right here. It says, if you don't remember the soda, stay off my page. Minute Maid soda. Kids will never believe no early 2000s. Today, kids will. Okay, wait. It's kind of rambling. But there's proof that it did exist at one time. So.
That looks like fun packaging too.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was like the typical '90s look at the time. The stuff you would see back then. So then, if you look at the regular Minute Maid, it's kind of boring looking. So
I think it's trying to look very healthy.
that's a good point. So, but so as far as this goes, this is something you would not recommend to our audience or people in general. Is that right?
Correct. Mainly because there's a lot of artificial sweeteners in there, and if you get like one of those lemon juicers at the store, which isn't too expensive, and you get a thingy of blackberries, I'm sure you could make some blackberry juice that tastes more like blackberries and is less bad for you yourself. It might just take a little more work.
Now, as far as this company that HIT, did they have other juice drinks?
I'm not sure. I didn't look into the company actually.
Just curious. All right. Well, that's one down as far as the recommendations. I think most of your stuff has been pretty positive, right?
Yeah.
And I would probably give this a try just for the heck, just for the sake of just for the fact that it says Blackberry on there. As I said earlier, that was something I really liked when I was a kid. So I'd probably give it a try. I can't, obviously, without tasting it, I don't know if it would be something I would like though. So
Right. Okay. Let's get to the question from last week.
Yeah, we got a decent response on this one too. Let me bring that up here. 2,200 votes here. Sorry, excuse that other video. I was watching that before we went live there. What do you do when you get sick? And was that 2,300 votes? And overwhelmingly 51% said eat lots of soup. Now, for me, when I hear the word eat soup, that seems to be I don't really think of soup being eaten. I think of it being sipped. Maybe I'm just thinking wrong. The only time you would eat soup is if there's like chunky things in it, like meat or something. So is that the proper way of saying it? It just sounded kind of odd to me.
I think soup is such a beautifully diverse food group, that I think the normal soup, like type of soup that people think of when like getting sick is like chicken noodle soup or soup with noodles in it. And the soup that I think of is, I mean, honestly, more of a stew, because I really like minestrone and I really like chunky vegetables in my soup. But then there's also tomato soup and like French onion soup and those kinds of soups that are like what you say, more sippable. I think it can be both. It just depends on like what kind of soup you're talking about.
Okay. And before we go any further, we got our regular fan back today. Desmond Haas play 3 Play-Doh with a Christmas tree. Hi back. He's a regular fan now. So how you doing today?
Hi.
The as far as the soup, yeah, I agree. When I was a kid, he talked about tomato soup. My parents claimed that I had an allergic reaction when I was a child to tomato soup, so I've never had a taste for tomato soup. But later on, I realized it must have been not true because I ate lots of pizza and that has tomato sauce in it. So maybe it was something else I was allergic to, or maybe I was allergic to it and I grew out of it or something. So, but for that reason, I still refuse to like eat anything with a lot of tomatoes in it that I know has tomatoes because I was conditioned to think that I'm allergic to it, even though I don't think I am anymore. So
That's interesting. I used to be allergic to tomatoes, but not like internally on my skin. So if like it was weird, but I could eat tomatoes, and I really like tomatoes. Like I've always liked them, but I couldn't. There was like a period of time when I was a kid where if I got tomato, it wasn't serious, but if I got tomato juice like from ketchup or pasta or just eating tomatoes, like on my skin, I would just get like a red rash. So it's
Wow.
possible, like maybe it was just like a skin reaction.
Oh, is that still this? Is that still happened to you, or is that?
No, I don't know when I grew out of that. I was, I don't know. That hasn't happened in like a very long time.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of it. You'd think that if something happened on the outside, it would happen on the inside as well. So,
Yeah.
but that's interesting. Well, I hope it wasn't too bad when you got that.
No, no. Did not deter me from eating tomatoes.
So let's see. Next one down, we have 24% with taking medication. Actually, these go right down the line. 11% with I never get sick. 8% with drinking tea, and 7% with other. Leaving a comment below, and a nice selection of comments. Let me bring this up. I'll make this so it's the newest first. I usually says gamer something says I usually open my PC and click on Minecraft. Click the Minecraft and start God bridging. God bridging. Not sure what that means. Have you played the game?
I have played Minecraft, but it was very briefly and in college, and I did not know what I was doing. So
I've seen people play the game on YouTube, so I don't know. I assume that's someone who's played the game probably knows what that means. But so that's cool. You got a big smiley face, so that I guess that helps. Matthew something. It says I usually stay in bed and try to rest up. Let's see. Meaning of sick, sick from cold or pain. That's a good point. I guess I assumed you meant the question was more or less along the lines of being sick, just like from a cold or a virus or something. So,
yeah.
yeah. So I didn't really think of pain as really being a sickness. So that's would be the answer to that question. Also, next one down says Stealth Bacon says also I eat a lot of soup and some syringe.
Syringe.
That's a little something faces. That looks like they look like they're smiley faces with tongue sticking out. Is that what I'm seeing there? Oh,
I think they're wide eye faces.
wide eye. Have you ever done this on Google? I'll show you this. This is kind of interesting. If you ever go to, let's see, where is it at? Go to their translate page and you put that in here, you can it'll actually have a translation for this. You ready?
Flushed, 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 flushed.
So I thought that was funny. Every time I've done a translate, and I didn't expect that the first time. I was like, oh, that threw me off. But just, now I know it's there. I always do that just for fun. So, let's see. Next one down says drink some hot waters repeatedly. Let's see. Next one says sleep it off. Next one sleep. Three sleeps in a row. Work out. Oh, that's something I don't know if I could do. Could you work out? That's something I think I would not be able to do.
Not this time. This sickness was, I mean, I actually was sick for 7 days and my tonsils still hurt. So,
Oh, okay. So your tonsils were not didn't have to be removed or anything, did they?
no, it was just like it was a weird, like, it started out as mainly cold and cough symptoms, and then it transitioned into like a sinus infection area, and then I don't know, it was a whirlwind. I never went to see anyone, but I think I should have.
Hmm. Yeah, if I getting back to the workout part, if I get sick, I just don't feel like doing anything. So I will say this. I do have a condition in my back I don't like to talk about once in a while, but it acts up every once a week or so, and it makes me a little bit more tired than I need to be. And I don't feel like doing anything, but I do have to go down and get my mail, which is my mailbox is about a tenth of a mile from my house. So I have to do a little walk. And I will say it actually makes me feel better. So it's not really getting sick per se, but it has that same kind of feeling of being kind of in a bad state, just feeling like I'm sick. So
Right.
I guess it could help in some ways. If depends on what you have. So Jack Was that Himes? Says, I can't eat soup because it looks like vomit. Okay. Oh, this is one right here. 7-Up, if you're Mexican, you know this S works wonders. Okay, I don't know if we've discussed this, but when I was a kid, my mother, my dad, both would tell me when I get sick, yes, drink lots of 7-Up. They would always get the 7-Up and regular 7-Up. Now, when I was a kid, I think there was only one kind of 7-Up anyway. They didn't have the flavored ones yet. So, but yeah, they would. That was a big thing. Always get 7-Up, and that was supposed to help out. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
So I don't know if it's true. My parents would, parents could, there's lots of myths out there that people believe, and that doesn't make people stupid or anything. But I just remember that was supposed to help, and it could just be a simple myth that people believe that's been passed down through the ages. So, but I when I got sick later on, I think I tried cherry 7-Up, but I didn't notice any difference. So, no comment there. Skip school, play GTA, and what does that say?
Roblox?
Roblox. Okay, must be another game I'm not familiar with. No, that's a good idea. Play GTA. I guess maybe there a spelling is there? Is there a spelling in there? Maybe there was. I don't know. What do you do when you're? What do you do when? No, I don't see anything. So I don't know what that means. I sleep. Another sleep comment. I can't eat anything if I get sick, and I try to get. I always say, well, let me start over. I can't eat anything if I got sick, and I try to get medication. Okay. See, Mr. Phillips says I'm sick right now. Sorry to hear that. I hope you're feeling better. I says I get sick. What's the first one? Is that an abbreviation for something that I'm missing?
I think it usually means I guess.
I guess. Okay, thank you. I hate when that happens. I when people use abbreviations, I have to look it up to figure out what they're saying. Thank you. I guess I get sick. I should eat something before it gets medication. That's it. Or yeah, medicine. That's it. So this question is more efficient than Secret Service's interrogation. Okay. Not sure what that is. Looks like it's in Russian. I'm not sure, whatever that is. Chicken noodle soup, the best healing medicine. I think I've heard that too. Have you heard about that?
I've heard of like homemade chicken noodle soup being the best.
I think my mother
Or
used to make,
yeah, soup in general, I feel like.
specifically, I think of chicken noodle soup. My mother used to make that as well, I think, when I was a kid. I think. It's been a while. So, but specifically, it was, yeah, I think I've heard that as well. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just heard about it, but it just seems when I read that, it just seemed to make a memory flashback there. So, what's soup going to do? It may help, it may not. It may just be a placebo effect. Who knows? So, let's see. Next comment down, it says, "I will sit on my phone and be warm under the bed." I'll sit on my phone. Okay, I'm make sure I'm reading that right. Under the bed blanket and take medication. Okay, I assume they mean sit on their phone as in sitting and like maybe just using their phone. I mean, I guess that's what they mean. Not actually literally sitting on it. I don't know. So, no soup when you sick. Deal with the S and go to work. I think we might have read these already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can skip these right here. We'll see what kind of responses we got here. Okay, yeah, this is a line from the video game. So, alrighty. So, how do you feel about the responses here?
It makes sense, but I would have expected more people to say that they drink tea, because I feel like when I get sick, especially with like a throat cough or something, drinking tea is like the go-to thing to do, or just hot water with lemon or something like that. So I would have expected more people to say drink tea.
And not to mention that I have heard people say that. So, but yeah, it is interesting. A lot of people didn't say that, and the soup is really a high level there. Medication, obviously, that makes sense. So, but the yeah, I agree. You're right. I've heard that. I don't remember taking tea, but I do remember hearing that more often now that you bring that up. So I don't remember where. In fact, I think it's something I've heard with coworkers, people who I've worked in offices saying drink a lot of tea or something. And you said lemon, right? I think I heard that as well. So
Yeah, because lemon has vitamin C and I think B12. So those are good for your immune system.
I do know my dad would, whenever he got sick, he would always say, just take as many vitamins as you can. So if I remember correctly, you can take as many vitamins as you want, and your body will just get rid of the excess. It's kind of like, think about it like a glass of water. If you fill it up and you just keep on letting it flow, the excess water will just go away, and you can't get any more into the cup. It's kind of supposedly something to that effect. I don't know if that's true or not. So.
Yeah, I remember one time I went in high school. I went to the doctor. I don't remember why I was asking, but I asked about vitamins and like whether or not you can overdose, or like if you're sick, can you take multiple vitamin C pills? And the doctor was like, yeah, for the most part, like unless it's like a niche vitamin that you have to be careful with or something weird like that. For the most part, vitamins you can just take uh not like don't like take like a lot if you can avoid it, but um take you can take like one of each or two of each if you need to, and you just pee the rest out. So
Mhm. I when I was I when I was teaching, I would have a lot of students come in, and students tend to, when you're with a large group of people, the likelihood of getting sick increases, obviously. So I usually had about, on average, at the beginning of the semester, about 20 students, and that would usually dwindle down to about half by the end of the semester. And whenever one or two are sick, I'd use one of these. I don't know if it really helped. People said, "Oh, that's kind of stupid to use that." It was called Airborne. I don't know if you ever heard of this.
yeah, yeah, it's like Airborne and Zicam are like they're like cold reducers, or I guess, or like they shorten cold, or if you take enough of it quickly enough, it can um, make it so you just barely get the symptoms, because it really does help your immune system. Vitamin C, vitamin B12, like the B vitamins, those really help your immune system.
Okay.
And that way you don't get scurvy.
Okay. That helps really with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that. So okay, interesting. Yeah, the I used to carry these all around all the time. Since I don't I'm not right now, I work out of my home, so I don't interact with as many people, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I always had a bunch of these on standby. Just whenever I saw someone coughing, I'd start drinking a whole bunch of this stuff just to help. I don't know. I guess it helped. So I don't remember getting that sick. I guess I got a little paranoid. What's the term when you're afraid of getting sick? And
Oh, I don't remember.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember. People used to accuse me of being that, but it's the one place I used to work at when I was working at Clear Channel. There was a guy that would come in, and his kid would get sick, and he would come in sneezing and snorting and blowing snot all over the place, and I had to sit in the desk after him, so I'd just wash it down, and he'd get angry because I'd wash it down. I'm like, why would you get angry because I'm washing it down?
Oh, hypochondriac.
Yeah, that's
Hypochondriasis or
yes.
something.
Yes, and people would accuse me of being that, but I wasn't really. I was just doing that whenever I saw someone sick. I wouldn't do it just on a whim. I would do it if I actually saw someone coming, like my coworker coming in, doing that, this blowing his junk all over the place. It's like, that sneezing and all that is like, yeah. That point I do become a little bit of, I guess you could say, a little bit of a hypochondriac, but generally speaking, no, I'm not. So.
I think it's safe because it's like there are a lot of people that don't cover their mouth when they sneeze or cough, and like don't wash their hands after they blow their nose or anything like that, and it's just gross. I mean, that's exactly how you spread germs. So I don't think it's being like paranoid or unrealistic or like irrational, because you really can like easily get sick from that kind of stuff. So
Mhm. And I will say that the one time he got sick on a regular basis, he always blamed it on his kids. I don't know if that's why he got sick or not, but I do know one time I did in fact get so sick after working there that I got what he got, and I had to go to the doctor anyway. So I think I was justified in washing it down every time because of that.
yeah.
So whatever I got, it was nasty. It just felt, I felt awful, but I had to still come to work and couldn't take off. And I guess I could have. I just didn't want to. I just felt like I felt this kind of loyalty to not being one that just didn't show up for work. It was whatever it was. It was I don't want to get too gross here, but it was working through my sinuses, and it just got kind of hard in there, just kind of gross. So I never had that before or since. Whatever it was really nasty. So
Yeah.
so. Alrighty, so we got a question. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. Did you want to discuss the question for this week?
Yes. So, the question for this week is, what holidays do you celebrate during December? Because there are so many, or I mean, maybe not so many, but there are a lot. And it seems like, especially in America, the only one at least companies focus on is Christmas. Like if you go to Target, the pretty much the biggest section in Target is the Christmas section, and if you go to like Starbucks, the cups are all red and green, and there are just so many other holidays that could be represented.
No, I
So,
will. I agree. I had an issue with one of my credit cards, so I called up the credit card company today, in fact, and the woman was saying, "Well, I hope you have a very happy Christmas and all this," assuming that I celebrate Christmas. It's not a big deal. I was like, oh, I actually, I'm not a person that goes on my way to celebrate Christmas, but I'm not fully against it or anything like that. So. But it was just I found it kind of funny because she doesn't know what kind of person I am, and it's like you said, it was just an automatically assumption. I know some people get offended by it. I don't see why that's a big deal, but the but yeah, you're right. They do focus more on Christmas than anything else. So you've got to tell me what that first one is. The first one, I don't know what that is.
wow. I tried to see how it was pronounced on Google Translate earlier, and I don't think I can really pronounce it well. Krampus not. No, it's not going to happen for me. It's let me pull up because I don't want to say anything wrong.
Let me bring up the translate so we can hear it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, here we go.
Krampus knocked.
Okay. So, on Wikipedia, the most reliable source,
Oh my
it
goodness.
says,
before you say anything else, look at these images that just came up. Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's scary. It's like Santa, but horror. The Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure in Central and Eastern Alpine folklore who, during the Christmas season, scares children who have misbehaved. Assisting St. Nicholas, the pair visit children on the night of the 24th of December, with St. Nicholas rewarding the well-behaved children with modest gifts such as oranges, dried fruit, walnuts, and chocolate, whilst the badly behaved ones only receive punishment from Krampus with birch rods. So I guess Krampus beats kids, basically. And the origin is unclear, but anthropologists have postulated it as having pre-Christian origins.
Where's it celebrated though? Did you say?
I think it's like mainly. It says that it's Alpine folklore, Central and Eastern Alpine folklore. So I'm thinking like Germany and other Germany it says here, and other maybe Austria.
Okay. Yeah, definitely never heard of this one. That's quite interesting. So.
I've never heard of it, and it sounds so cool. And it's like America is supposed to be this place where everyone can come and from all different places. But what if somebody celebrates Krampus Nacht and they don't see any Krampuses in Target?
Well, I gotta be honest. I would speculate that hardly anyone knows what that is anyway. So if you're going into Target and seeing this, people are probably be like, "What the heck is that?" So it's not to offend anybody that celebrates it. Of course, I'm just saying it's like no, you're talking about something that's probably not that well known, obviously. So Yeah, but I mean, how often do you see any of the other results that we put up there? Let me bring that back up.
I think Hanukkah is the one that I see like second most often,
Yeah.
and then what else? That's kind of maybe Kwanzaa after that. I have seen because I watched all of The Office in high school, and one of the characters, Dwight Schrute, there's an episode where he is basically dressed up as Krampus, but it's not like horrific. It's really just funny. So that's the first time I heard about that one. I honestly thought it was made up until I saw it today on the list of December holidays.
So see, that kind of proves what I was saying. You would never even heard of it either. So neither one of us. That's a completely, to us, a completely alien thing. I guess you could say.
Yeah, but I do think that we in high school, because I feel like maybe elementary school might be a little too early to teach kids about Krampus but in high school, I feel like we should get a rundown on all the December holidays, just so we know.
Well, some of the things they teach in elementary school nowadays are kind of scary anyway. So I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to get any political debates here, but as far as I agree. Maybe it has a historical significance. What else did you? I mean, were these the only 4 that popped up when you did that list when you did the search?
No, there was also Santa Lucia, I think. Let me see.
Did we discuss St. Nicholas Day too?
I think so. Vaguely remember. Yeah, Santa Lucia was one of them. And then December solstice and Yule, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's Eve. I think those are the main ones on this list.
If you ever seen, I've asked you this before and I forget what your answer is. Have you seen the Back to the Future movies?
Yes.
When they go, he says, you want to go back in time to see the birth of Christ. He says December 25th, 000, and technically speaking, that would be incorrect. It would be 0001 because it wouldn't be a year 0. So. It's one of the things I used to talk about when I was doing when I taught in classes. When you're dealing with numbers and things, 0 doesn't exist, so you don't actually have a 0. So, but it was one of those funny things. As far as I guess the other ones are just way. So why did you choose that one then? All of the other ones that do not seem to be that well known.
What a great name it is! Why wouldn't I choose that one?
Okay,
wonderful, and it was the top one on that list. So
that's a good response. I like that. Okay, cool. Are you ready to post it?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right, we'll come back to that one. So, all right, so this leads up to our movie. Whoops, I don't want to see that. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, and let us know if there are holidays that were not on the list in the comments of that poll. Because I'm sure there might be something that is celebrated that is not on the list that I saw.
Yeah. There's most likely some. I mean, the fact that you and I never heard of that first one, I'm sure there's got to be something out there as well. Something else. I had heard that the Japanese celebrate something that's similar, but I don't know what that was. I don't know. It might have just been made up because I heard it on the TV show The Simpsons several years ago. And I don't know if you know this, but they made up a myth that people believe to this day called the Coriolis effect. That if you flush a toilet on one side of the world, you flush it on the other side of the world, it'll circle in different directions. Have you ever heard that?
No, that doesn't really make any sense.
It was a myth that they created, and a lot of people actually believe that. So the fact that was a myth leads back to the idea that maybe the Japanese celebration might have also been a myth. So I don't know. It might have just been another joke that they were doing. So, but
I think Festivus is a real holiday Festivus for the rest of us is what I've heard that before.
Isn't that wasn't that just a made up thing for Seinfeld, the TV show Seinfeld?
I thought it was, and then I looked it up, and it's December 23rd.
Oh, okay.
It's like on the calendar as a holiday.
Interesting. Okay. I don't remember. I remember seeing vaguely seeing that episode, but I don't remember what the whole deal was. So, what was Festivus supposed to be?
Let me see. I know in the show, I'm pretty sure Kramer was the one in the show. I haven't seen the whole Seinfeld show, but I've seen episodes.
I used to watch it when it was still on. I was just saying I used to watch it when it was on, but I don't remember. I'm just leading up to the idea that I don't. I remember they had an entire episode devoted to it, but I just don't remember anything about it. So.
Right. Okay. It says that Festivus is a secular holiday celebrated on December 23rd as an alternative to the pressures and commercialism of the Christmas season. Originally created by author Daniel O'Keefe, Festivus entered popular culture after it was made the focus of the 1997 Seinfeld episode, The Strike.
Oh. Quite interesting. Okay. So, and when was it created? Does it say?
Let me see. I'm trying to see that. Oh, it was celebrated by Dan O'Keefe's, like the creator's family, as early as 1966.
So basically, it was something that was so obscure that nobody really knew about, and then the show just made it popular, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, it seemed to have stricken a chord with enough people.
And I wonder if it was just something that was just basically a small inside thing that only a few people even knew about. Maybe like only a few, like maybe a family thing, and they just made it popular for the show. And who knows? It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting nonetheless. What was the guy's name again?
Dan O'Keefe, I think.
Dan O'Keefe. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, something to learn there today. So.
All right. Now the movie that we watched this week is your favorite movie.
Oh, I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie, but one of my favorite movies.
One of your favorite movies.
Yes. So, and did you want to describe it? Did you want to lead up to it, or how did you want to go into this?
It's A Wonderful Life. And so you can describe it if you want, because I'm not the best at storytelling.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you this before we go any further. Have when I said we were going to watch this, I said there are two versions of this. There's the regular version, the original black and white, and then there's the colorized version. Which version did you watch?
The black and white one. I think they're both on Amazon Prime.
Oh, so they give you a choice? Is that right?
Yeah, you have to search the black and white version.
Okay. And I made the recommendation. I said that I don't like colorized movies. It might sound kind of ironic in a way because I'm usually the one that's like I usually prefer color, meaning what I like is natural color. If I had a choice between looking at a picture that was in color or black and white, I would actually like to see the actual color. I don't want to see something that's artificially colored. So there's a difference. So my dad, when I was younger, repeatedly took black and white photos over and over, even though color was readily available. He just loved to take black and white pictures. So all these pictures he has of me of my family when I was a kid were all in black and white. And I was like, it just seems to lose something because of that. So I actually like color better. But when it comes to actually movies and things like that, I prefer to see them either in the original black and white, not colorized, unless the people who created the movie were still alive and they were to say, hey, well, we want to colorize it and do it ourselves, then I might accept it. That's the only way I would accept it. And the reason for that is because by colorizing it, you change the feel, the tone, the quality of the movie in ways that the people who made the movie may not have intended the movie to be felt. It could change the feeling of the movie altogether. So, and I would rather see it the original black and white rather than color because of those reasons. So,
right. That makes sense. Plus, when you watch the characters move, when it's like colorized, sometimes the color falls behind and it doesn't match up perfect, and that's weird. I don't like it.
That's interesting. I don't watch colorized movies. I didn't know it does that. So they don't do a good job, is what you're saying.
Sometimes I've seen colorized videos, and so I guess for videos they probably don't like they might not use as high quality technology as for movies, but it just in what I've seen of colorized stuff, most of the time the color lags in the same way that when a show and like the audio are off, it's just something you can just it's uncomfortable. It's not a fun experience because sensory wise something's off.
I get you. I will add one more thing about color and black and white. When I was a child, we had a black and white television set, and when I went to school, I went to preschool, we had a color TV set. So I was like, it was so cool to see color at school. And when I got to be like maybe 8, 9 years old, maybe we finally got a color TV. I forget. Well, it might have been earlier than that, maybe 5. And I was like so happy because we finally got a color TV. And I was disappointed to find out that actually, even though we had a color TV, there were several shows that were still in black and white. I was like, what happened here? I thought this was supposed to correct that problem. So I didn't understand that that part of it. So, but anyway, the movie, getting back to our movie here, it's A Wonderful Life. So It's a Wonderful Life is based on, hold on a second, let me bring up my IMDb page so I can get everyone's name. Give me one second. I had it ready to go. Hold on a second. Jimmy Stewart. Okay, Jimmy Stewart is one of a very well-known actor. I will say before I go any further about Jimmy Stewart, in this movie, I think he's one of the best people in this whole, best actor in the whole movie. Donna Reed also has done very well. I don't know if you know who Donna Reed was. That's the one who plays his wife. She had her own show during the 1950s, which I never watched, which was called The Donna Reed Show. So I think I'm pretty sure that she's well known for that after this movie came out. So, and Jimmy Stewart is obviously known for his acting. The one thing I always find funny about these kinds of movies, this time period, is you'll often see people talking very quickly, almost like it's a style thing. And people in real life did not talk like that back then. Maybe some people did, but the average person did not. If you watch a movie from the 30s and 40s, they talk really, really fast, and you're like speeding the words, and they're like, why are they doing that? Why are they talking so unusual and unnatural? Jimmy Stewart doesn't do that, and so it makes him feel very natural and very realistic compared to a lot of the people that are in this that are talking that very speedy style of delivery, and it makes him stand out even more. So let's see. So his character is a dreamer. He wants to go on to explore the world, and every opportunity that comes along where he can finally leave the little town of oh my god, I forget the name of the place. What town do they live in? I'm sorry. Whatever the name of it, I should know it. He wants to leave behind the town and go explore the world. Every time something happens, he has to sacrifice that and just basically stay behind. And he never gets to his dream of exploring the world. And he basically his whole life is basically sacrificing for everyone else. One of the examples of that, his dad dies, and he's ready to take over. He's going to leave the town, and his brother is going to take over, but his brother ends up going to college. His brother comes back from college, and he says it gets married. He's offered a job, so his brother's not going to take over the business and loan that his dad was in charge of. So he ends up taking over the business and loan and running that. So he never gets a chance to leave. But he does get a wife. He does get married. I mean, has wife and family, and as the story progresses, you start to see how everything I'm trying to phrase this right. Everything that everybody in the world that he affected was really grateful for what he did. And he really had a major impact on the world around him. The very last half hour of the movie this is called a Christmas movie, but it really isn't Christmas till the last half hour or so. the first 2/3 are basically not Christmas. It's basically exploring his life. And on Christmas Eve, his uncle Billy loses the money that they were supposed to make a payment on. So how does that work exactly? How would I phrase that? He's going to go to jail. He doesn't want his family to suffer because of that. So he has an insurance policy on him. So he figures if he kills himself, that his family can live off his insurance and they will be happy. And that's when Clarence comes into play. Clarence, who was basically watching his the whole movie up till that point is Clarence watching him grow up. So Clarence knows his life from beginning to all the way up to that point, and Clarence gets to show him what his life would be like if he had never been born. Now, the interesting thing about it is, let me say before we go too far, we got OD saying hello, Zemo Child, and he says so. Thank you, OD. Appreciate the comments. So, basically, it's almost like in a sense, a kind of like an alternate reality of almost like similar to what happens in time travel movies. It's showing what would happen if he had never been born, and the movie Back to the Future Part 2 even pays like a homage to this movie by recreating certain scenes from this movie in that movie, because in that movie that's an alternate reality that's kind of similar to this one. You have a society. What happens is, because George Bailey had never been born, which is Jimmy Stewart's character, the town turns into a slum hole. It's run by the evil Potter, who's played by Lionel Barrymore, who's I don't know if you know this, who's Drew Barrymore's grandfather. So if the actress Drew Barrymore, that's her grandfather. So, and Potter is the evil man, and he's turned the town into a corrupt place. It's all fun. Of course, then they show corrupt place. They have like dance halls in the alternate alternate reality, or what do you want to call it. There's like gambling, or I don't know if there's gambling, but it looks seedy. It looks very seedy compared to what it does. The other, when George was there, it looked very wholesome and very more of a nicer place to be in, so to speak. So, and then at the very end of the movie, he realizes that he wanted to live, and that he's given his chance to come back. Everything is reversed, and so and at the very end, the money that was lost, all his friends and family come forth and give him more than enough money to pay what was owed. So the money, it turns out, was actually not really stolen, but accidentally given to evil man Potter. And Potter, they never actually addressed that in the movie. Potter eventually just keeps the money that was eventually lost. It was like $8,000, which is a lot of money compared to, if you do, adjust for the value of inflation. That's a lot of money that he kept. So, and at the very end of the movie, he is like I said, he realizes the value of his life, and that's the end. It's very happy, in some ways tearful ending for people. And I think I described it well enough. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the beginning was important. Who Clarence was important. Clarence was the guardian angel, and in the beginning, God was talking to Clarence.
Right. And then this little scene right here, this is they're showing little like whatever you want to call these celestial bodies or whatever, talking to each other in space. So this is supposed to represent God, and this Clarence, who's a little dot at the bottom, who's kind of blinking, and I can't remember who the other one they're talking to, another entity of some kind. But yeah, go ahead.
That was just, that's one of the parts that I really liked. I like to see how they represented like otherworldly beings in old movies. So
Gotcha. And Clarence is how do they refer to him? Angel second class, I think, is what they refer to.
Yes. Yeah. He hasn't got his wings yet. Because I don't know. He hasn't done something big enough to get wings. But this will be like his assignment, where if he succeeds, he'll get wings.
Right. So, and as the movie progresses here, I got to be careful. Technically, this movie falls under public domain, so we can show it, but parts of it have been reclaimed. I'm going to get into that eventually, but basically, for a couple of decades, this movie was completely free to show anywhere. But within the past 15, 20 years, there's been some copyrights that have been reinstated on it. So we still have to be careful about it. Even though the majority of the movie is actually falling under public domain, we can do anything we want with it. So
Interesting. I did not know they could do that.
yeah, I'll get into that in a little bit. But as the story opens up, we see Clarence. He's going in. He's seeing George's life. Here's him as a kid. The one thing I will say is this: there was this very significant scene here where his brother falls into the water. If George was not born, there's something that's called the butterfly effect. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Where if you change one thing, even though it's so minor that it might be, that it has a great impact on things further down the line. So the idea that he was never born in the first place would probably mean that none of these events would have happened anyway. So,
yeah.
And there's a very good chance that his brother probably wouldn't have never been born either, because he wasn't there, and his parents might have not had, that certain time when they had sex with him, he would have, another child would have been born in his place or something. So, it's all that kind of stuff when you think about it. So you'd have to suspend your, if you think like I do about that kind of stuff, you'll have to just ignore that part of it and just go with the idea that somehow, even though he wasn't born, all the other events still transpired the way it would have, even though he wasn't there. So
right.
So his brother would have died in this scene right here with the when he goes into the water. They're doing sledding and he falls into the ice. So he wasn't saved, which has a significant impact later on in the storyline. As he goes up, this is the woman that he eventually gets married to, eventually played by Donna Reed. Her name is Mary. What's her name? Is that Donna? Mary Hatch? Is that right?
I think so.
I remember her name was Mary. There was a little bit of trivia. There was a remake of this movie during the 1970s, and they reversed the roles. Instead of being George Bailey, who was the one who was going through, it was the main character. It was the Mary who was the main character of the movie. She wanted to end her life at the end. So I'm going to bring this up real quick. Here it is. It was called It Happened One Christmas. Here it is right here. Marlo Thomas she played Mary. They changed what it is. She was still Bailey. Oh no, wait, I guess they did. I'm very wrong. Her name was Mary Bailey Hatch. So it was just a simple reversal. Nobody really likes this movie that much. It's not very well known. I remember seeing it when I was a kid. I don't remember disliking it, but it's been so long. I can't say if it's good or not. So, but essentially it's basically a reversal of the two roles. George and Mary were reversed. That's all. She played the prominent role and George played the husband. And like I said, it's just something that's there. It's interesting that Orson Welles played Old Man Potter in that one. So I don't remember that at all. So, but
interesting.
As they grow up, you see him growing up. You see all the different significant scenes. I will say, what's his name? Lionel Barrymore, the guy who plays Potter. In real life, it's funny how, like, in the movie, the two characters, George Bailey and Potter, hate each other. In real life, though, the actors really liked each other a lot, and they were actually good friends. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. I'm so used to seeing them hating each other, but in real life, it was actually Lionel Barrymore that fought to get, so to speak. I don't remember where I heard this. I can't back this up. That fought to get Jimmy Stewart into the role because he thought he was so good at it. So there's Mr. Potter. Potter, the evil bad guy, playing this stereotypical kind of bad guy. No redeeming qualities whatsoever. This is a scene where George is he was supposed to deliver some medicine and he didn't because it was poisoned, and it saves because of that. When he wasn't there in the alternate reality, the druggist there, I forget his name, ended up accidentally poisoning a kid, and so he ended up going to prison. So that's another significant. So basically the movie, as it progresses, you have all these different scenes that show early on how he played a significant role in certain things, and now led up to all this other stuff. There is a cameo in here. Before I go too much further, right there, I just had it right. Darn it. Did you ever see the TV show The Little Rascals or Our Gang from the 1930s?
I don't think so. I've seen the movie The Little Rascals.
Okay. That was from the 1990s. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. The original Little Rascals from the 1930s. It started back in the 20s and lasted through the 40s. There was a character that's well known called his character name was Alfalfa. I forget the actor's name, but this is Alfalfa from the original Little Rascals. And I didn't know that at first. I thought he looked similar, but he was all in the Little Rascals TV show. He was a kid. He had a kid voice. This one, he was grown up and had an adult voice, and that's why I didn't recognize him right away. So anyway, it's just a small little cameo appearance of Alfalfa. So, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's cool.
Let's see, he actually in this movie. Let's see. I'll play this a little. Oops, I didn't mean to have it so loud. Let me turn this down. So. He actually kind of acts like he did in the TV show. Actually, they weren't really TV shows; they were like short movies. He acts kind of like he does in those shorts. So, anyway, same kind of facial expressions. Now, I like this pool scene. I think this pool actually still exists, from what I understand, where they filmed this. This is an actual location. It's not a set.
Yeah, that was fun. I didn't think they had cool stuff like that.
Yeah, and this is and I don't know where it was, but it's the whole idea that you can pull that out and it's like there's a big swimming pool underneath. That's really neat. But yeah, I think it still exists to this day, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the scene where his dad dies and he has to take over the building alone. And this is significant because he's telling her that he's going to go explore the world and how he's going to go on and he keeps on talking about being a dreamer and this and obviously he never lives those dreams. So, let's see. As we go on here. Let's see if there's anything more significant here. Oh, this is where this scene was kind of awkward. He comes back, he sees Mary, and all of a sudden they're like kissing really hard, like they really love each other, but they never really established that they were really that much in love at this point. Did you feel that too?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the movie is kind of depressing because I would rather have seen him live his dreams. And it seems like he rushed into a marriage, had kids that he didn't, really dream of having, and then give up what he actually wanted to do. Which, I understand that it's like, oh, your life touches other people's and like not living your true dreams so you can be like around for other people is a nice sentiment, but it's kind of sad. It's like I mean if they had a real true connection, that would make it a more redeeming relationship to me, because it's like, well, maybe it was just because they needed to make the movie like go on faster, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was just like kind of a spur of the moment spark sort of thing, rather than a long-term connection where they really seem like they fit with each other.
Yeah, especially especially he doesn't seem like he really has an attraction to her, except all of a sudden he does. Like he doesn't have it, and then all of a sudden he does have it. Like he's like madly in love with her, and they start kissing. And then, but she's had an attraction ever since she was a kid because they showed that. But it's like it's not really that strong either. So
Right. I mean, maybe it was just enough for like the 40s and 50s,
that's true. It's true. And I don't know if you know about censorship during that period. Obviously, if you watch a movie from this time period, it's heavily censored, so they don't talk about sex or anything like that. And there were two Supreme Court rulings in the United States that took place about First Amendment. I think it's the First Amendment, that movies were not protected. Up until then, movies were not protected by the First Amendment. That's why they're so heavily censored during that time period. Then there were two rulings during the 50s and into the early 60s. I forget when they actually took place, so I don't know. But from the 50s into the 60s, that's when you start seeing a lot of more sexual innuendo. And then by the time the 70s come around, it's like it's all over the place. So before that they were censored. It was illegal to actually show things in movies. And then it was established they were protected by the First Amendment, then they could get away with almost anything at that point. So
Yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't know all that, but I did know because I used to watch I Love Lucy in the mornings,
Mhm.
because it was on and it was a fun show. And I learned, I don't remember when or who from, but I learned that the reason why they had beds on opposite sides of the room was because they couldn't show a couple with like a single bed or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. And it's the same in the cartoon The Flintstones, I think. Betty and Barney, the neighbors, they had slept in separate beds too. Yeah, it was yeah, I know what you mean. So the let's see. Getting on back to this. Oh, there's a trivia thing in here. Kind of the two characters that are friends in here. Their names are Bernie. I'm sorry, Bert and Ernie.
Yeah.
A lot of people have speculated that the characters Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street are based on that, and several people said no, that's not. That's just coincidence. So, in case anyone was wondering about that, I believe that it is just a coincidence. I don't think they purposely named them after that. So,
It's a
uh,
nice name combination.
mhm. The as we go along, this is where, oh yeah, they make the run. I believe this is supposed to be represent the stock market crash from 1929, I believe, because everybody's coming to get their money. And so George is taking the $2,000 that he has, which doesn't sound like very much. He's able to he said, if he'll give everybody enough money to survive until everything gets back to normal. And at the very end, they still have $2 left over. So the building and loan stays in business. I will say the first guy that comes in there, he asks like for a large amount, like a couple $100. And I'm like, how is he's going to? Everyone else is like, how's he going to give everyone else a lot of money, any more money if he asks for like a couple $100? I can't imagine $2,000 would go very far if everyone else was in there doing the same thing. So
Yeah. He was being greedy.
yeah, yeah. So, but other than that, somehow they don't show what happens, but they do survive, and the building and loan stays open. Um, as they move forward, they show how he helps build the little town. I'm not the town. I'm sorry. It's this community, the subdivision with the new homes, and that was basically built with the money through the building and loan. Basically, everyone's helping each other, kind of a thing. And of course, Evil Potter coming in play. Let's see. Oh, the war. This is where we get to the end of the movie. This is where, if you look real carefully, you see that Uncle Billy has the $8,000 in his hand right there, and he hands it to Potter accidentally in the newspaper, and that's where Potter gets the money, and that's where it gets lost. Right
That
there.
is still so wrong. I don't understand why they didn't have a consequence for Potter.
Exactly. Exactly.
That
Because
was it's I mean, ugh. I wish at the end of the movie they found out and then they got like the $8,000 back and then they decided to, I don't know, give it back to everyone or build something for the community that was fun or something like that.
yeah, and there is a Saturday Night Live skit. If you look, I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube, where they actually ask that question. And somebody, the very closing scene where everyone's singing "Old Lang Syne," someone comes in and says, "Hey, it was Potter that stole the money," and so they all rush down and beat him up.
That's good. Okay.
And when they beat him up, it's like a rag doll or something. It's obviously not meant to be. It's supposed to be a joke. That's not a real person. They just keep on kicking around this rag doll all over the place. So.
Right.
So as it goes forward, yeah, this is where George realizes he doesn't have the money. Um, there's because this falls under the public domain. There's a comedy skit that's all, I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to look it up. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up over here. I'll do it. It's bring up IMDb. I believe it's listed here. 1 second. Be made as something edited into. There's something. Here it is. It's called Escape from It's a Wonderful Life. So it's a comedy routine. They took the movie and re-edited it into it's not the full length movie, but they took out key scenes and they revoiced it with different actors. And basically the whole movie is just basically they're tired of doing the movie all over and over and over again. It goes on the joke that I said, based on what I said earlier about the fact that during the 70s and 80s and early 90s, this movie was run all over the place. You can during the entire month of December, it was constantly being shown on several different channels. And so this comedy skit is based on that. They took the movie and revoiced it, so they're like, we're tired of doing this movie over and over and over every Christmas, and it's funny to watch. I've seen it from beginning to end. It's pretty funny to watch. You can actually go to if it's still there, you can go to the website where the people that made it, and you can actually download it and actually watch it. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and I would recommend it. It's not super funny, but it's funny enough. It's kind of funny. So, so as the movie progresses, here's Zuzu. Zuzu's Pedals. I think there was there a rock group or something called Zuzu's Pedals or something?
I'm not sure.
I think there was something called that. I don't know, or a song or something based on that. At this point, George is he's really out of it. The only person he doesn't get angry at is his daughter Zuzu, and he puts the pedals in there. He lashes out at the teacher who was actually calling to see if she made it home okay, but he doesn't care. He's angry because his daughter got sick because she was he blames the teacher for sending her home. And then the husband comes on, and he's going to you don't hear what happens, but you assume he's going to do something to George, which does happen later on in the movie. He punches him out for being rude to his wife on the phone. So all this, let's see.
I think that's what he deserves. He has some serious anger management problems.
Yes. There you go. Yeah, here we go. This is where here's his anger management right here. So his everything that's there, this is like his little corner where all his dreams are, essentially. So he's basically destroying his dreams section, so to speak. So, as far as I can tell, I could be pretty sure that's what that is. So he goes off, he goes to Potter, begs to Potter, and he realizes at the last minute, no, he doesn't want to do that. This is where he's begging for, this is where he gets punched. I'm jumping a little too far ahead. This is where there we go. Oops. And we can jump back a little bit. Yeah, we can actually see him. He's actually begging for help. He's actually praying at this point. So he's and this is where his prayer to God and then that's when they decide to send Clarence down to help him. This is but you don't need to, they don't need to show it because they know the audience is smart enough to realize there's a connection being made here at this point. So, and it's significant because he gets punched and he gets a bloody lip, and that's how he knows when he goes through this alternate reality towards the last part of the movie. Once everything goes back to normal, his lip is bleeding. He knows that everything is back to normal again. So that's why this is kind of significant for that reason. So he goes over here. This is where he's going to kill himself. He thinks about it, and then Clarence jumps in at the last second, jumps into the water, and basically says he did that to save him. And Clarence is here. This is Clarence right there. There he is. Trying to get to the right spot. And Clarence is like 200 and something years old. And that's when the guy who's in the background falls over his chair and runs out. So we only have the two of them left to do their little scene together. And now from this point forward, we get to see what kind of life it was. And this is where Bedford Falls. That's what it was. Finally, I remember the name of the town. Bedford Falls. You see it's become a horrific, a very seedy place. It's now called Pottersville instead of Bedford Falls. So how do you feel about it?
It looks kind of fun, though. I mean, I know that in the time, it was very disreputable for a bunch of dancing places to be around. But now I feel like that's what people seek out, like nice places to have fun and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't.
It's funny how times have changed.
I don't really find it to be a bad place. You're right. It basically it's almost like you're going from a small little town to maybe it almost becomes like maybe more of a city type of a situation, more of an urban thing. So something you'd see more of in a large city rather than a small country town kind of a thing. So you're right. It's not really that bad of a thing. But yeah, they do make it out to be like kind of like it's a bad thing. I do find it kind of ironic that when he walks into the bar here, the guy who's playing the piano is black. I don't know if they're implying something here because of the time this came out. I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything, but the guy who's playing the piano is black. And it's like maybe you're saying, that they didn't want to hang around with those kind of people or something. I don't know. It just came across as kind of racist to me when they showed that. Maybe I'm misinterpreting something there. So
that could be it. I wouldn't put it past that time period.
yeah. So there's a line in here.
And we don't need any characters.
Let's see. I like this. As they're talking, I forget the name of the guy who's at the bar here. He doesn't like this is where George starts to realize things are different. When he sees Old Man Gower, and it turns out Old Man Gower poisoned the kid. The line I like is right here.
Would you show these gentlemen to the door?
Right here.
Reason for me not to like.
Is that too loud, or can you hear it okay? I'm not sure how quiet that is.
I can hear it. It's good.
Okay.
You, that rumhead, spent 20 years in jail for poisoning a kid. If you know him, you must be a jailbird yourself. Would you show these gentlemen to the door? Sure. This way, gentlemen.
Oh, that's not the line. There's a line where he says, "Out you two pixies, go out the door, or out the window," or something like that. I was looking for that line. I can't remember where it is. I always like that line. It's kind of funny. So Nix, that's who it was. So this is when he realizes things have changed, and he gives this one of the most iconic scenes here where he has this facial expression. Oh no, that's further on. I'm sorry. This is where he's still realizing that things are in the process, that things have possibly changed. So we go through Pottersville. In the movie Back to the Future Part 2, there's a lot of scenes that are paid homage to for this. If you watch this, there's people have made YouTube videos where you can clearly see the similarities between the two movies. It's very obvious. So it's supposed to be like dark and more seedy looking. All the people he's helped, and like his friends Bert and Ernie here are not. Well, the cop is actually, he seems about the same. He doesn't seem like a bad person. The friend who was driving the cab, though, his wife left him, whereas in the other one, his wife didn't leave him, so he was still together with him. His mother doesn't obviously recognize him because he was never born. This is one of the most iconic scenes coming up right here. Let's see. There we go. Scene where he goes to the graveyard. This is also duplicated. Parts of it in Back to the Future Part 2, because in that movie, Marty's dad was the one who died. In this one, it's George's brother who died. So they duplicated very well. So he goes along. That's right. He's looking for Mary, who obviously doesn't know him. He punches the cop. The cop comes after him. And the cop starts shooting at him, which is like, I was like, why is he shooting at him? It's like, all he did was punch him, and now he's pulling a gun out and shooting people. I guess the town is supposed to be that corrupt that a cop will just start shooting people in the middle of the street like that. But at the very end, he comes to back to the bridge, and you can tell that things have gone back to normal because it's freezing cold and there's a howling wind. But once things go back to normal, the howling wind is gone, and the nice calm snow comes down. It's nice and calm. It's just light snow that's coming down.
Again, get out of here. What the?
So that's supposed to be the transition. You hear the howling wind and the no snow, but once that is gone and it's the nice peaceful falling snow, everything's back to normal again. So and Bert turns out to be he's back to his normal self. He's not mean anymore. He goes back, and this is where he gets the world. Everyone brings the money in. There was the money. There's a friend throughout the whole movie. I can't remember his name. Sam Wainwright. He after everybody gives him all the money, it turns out Sam Wainwright says, "I'll give you $25,000 to because because he's friends with George and everything." So basically, all the money that the townspeople give wasn't needed after all, because Sam Wainwright donated more than there was needed after all. So they never. I wonder what would happen if, obviously, this is just a story, but if this was real, what did they do with all that extra money that they had left over? So obviously, did they give it back to the people? What did they do to? Did they, like you were saying, did they put it to good use or something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know. If it was that time period, they probably would have given it back to the people, and then maybe like saved part of it for like some sort of fun park thingy or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So as we go along, here we go. So the line, dear George, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. That's Clarence thanking him, and the daughter asks, what was that about? And everyone, obviously George and the audience knows that it's that Clarence is getting his wings. So, and that's the end. So that's the story. So overall, there's some other things I want to talk about. But overall, how do you feel about the story itself?
I think it was okay. It probably meant a lot more in that time period, I feel like. But now it's a little bit more depressing, and it seems like it can also serve as a precautionary tale as like, don't make rash decisions with your life based on like, I mean, I just feel like their marriage was so fast and it wasn't based on real love.
That's true.
And then they had kids probably because at the time it was expected that once you were married you would have children, and not because they seemed like they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Which is depressing also.
And they had a lot of kids too. I mean, my parents, it's kind of like my parents, their families. Like my dad had 9 brothers and sisters, and my mother had 4 brothers and sisters. So that's back in the time when people had a lot more kids, I think, than they do nowadays. I think. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, and so they had like what at least 4, maybe 5 kids altogether. So they had a lot. It's considered to be a lot. So
Yeah. But I mean, I hope if they did get all that money, they would send George and his family on like a really fun vacation out of the town so George could finally live his dream. That would make it redeeming, because if it just seems like he never gets to live his dreams and he just always lives his life for other people, it's like, I don't know, that seems like a really regretful life.
Yeah, I guess my interpretation is, I know what you're saying, but my interpretation is that it's not about George trying to do that. That was more of just a device for the plot to move it forward, because that was never meant to happen anyway. It was just to show that to move the story forward to get where we needed to be, rather than actually being a focus of the story. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the message of like, when you are in pain and you take your own life, you're not getting rid of the pain, you're transferring it to other people who loved you. That's important.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah. And as far as the movie itself, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything else to add to that. But overall, I would definitely say this is one of my favorite movies. It's also one of my dad's favorite movies. I will say my sister, who I thought would like it, she actually didn't seem to like it at all, and she was actually surprised to see that both my dad and I really liked it. So I thought that was kind of funny. So, overall, would you recommend this movie?
I guess it's a Christmas classic, and so if you celebrate Christmas, then I guess it's probably one of those things that everyone should watch because it's like a classic thing. But I mean, I guess overall, yeah. I don't know, for like the person who likes old movies or wants to be well versed in old movies, I think this is definitely an essential.
Okay. The movie itself was not received well when it first came out. So I wanted to talk about some of the things about that. So from what I understand, I don't have anything to back this up. This is just me watching other people make reviews. I've heard this over several times. So I hope what I'm saying here is not just based on some sort of myth that's become fact kind of a thing. I believe that what I'm saying is true. So the movie was not received well. It was actually received very poorly. And it was actually kind of forgotten about until the 1970s. And that's when the movie was starting to show again. And this is where I want to talk about the copyright. During the period of time when the movie, when the copyright needed to be renewed, it was never renewed. So what ended up happening was since it was never renewed, it basically fell into the public domain, and so all the stations, all these people started running it over and over. It just became more popular, and over the period that happened from the 70s during the 80s, and it became an ongoing joke during that period. It was like you could just go anywhere and watch it on any channel, and it was like a joke that you could just turn it on you could just turn on a TV anywhere any time during December and find it somewhere. It didn't matter when. It was on a lot. That's not an exaggeration. It was on a lot. And it was just unbelievable how many times they ran this movie during the entire month of December. And then what happened was, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, what they did was they, in order to stop it, since the copyright had expired, they were able to go into and find out two things to keep that from to keep the copyright going in a certain way. Obviously, the movie itself is still in the public domain, but parts of the story are, I don't know if it's the entire story or parts of the story, were still under a different kind of copyright that apparently had never expired, and also some of the music is still under copyright as well. So based on those two premises, they were able to keep the movie from being shown over and over and over again. And what ended up happening was NBC at the time, I don't know if it's how it's done nowadays, but during the 90s, NBC got the rights to show the movie. So from that point forward, it was only shown twice now on public television or on broadcast television, twice per December, and that was it. It went from going like literally like maybe a few dozen times to down to twice. And I don't know if like I said, I don't know what's done nowadays. I don't know if it's still the same, like if NBC still does that, or if whoever has the rights to show it only shows it like once or twice. Nowadays, it doesn't really matter because you have streaming services and you can watch it whenever you want. But up until then, people were like, they didn't really go out of their way to buy or rent the movie. No one really went to, like get it on the local video rental store or anything like that. So it was basically just whenever it was basically left up to the broadcasters as to when they would run it. So, and after that, it's been the same ever since. Now the copyrights that are in place will eventually expire as well, and I forget when that's going to happen. But obviously, copyrights can't last forever. It's not possible. But there's speculation that somehow somebody's going to find some sort of another legal loophole, I guess you could say, and they're going to try to extend the copyright so what happened back in the 70s and 80s doesn't happen again. So.
Interesting. I had no idea that kind of thing happened.
Yeah, and ironically, because the copyright expired, that's what made the movie popular, because it was up until then it had been essentially completely forgotten about, and because it began being run over and over and over again, people just started liking it more and more, and that's why it became popular, because the copyright actually expired. So if the copyright had remained in place, it probably wouldn't be a very popular movie at this point.
Interesting.
So, as far as the music and the story elements that are still copyrighted, I couldn't tell you what they are. I just know that there's a really good YouTube channel called I think something called Film IQ. I think I can try to look it up, but he has a very extremely detailed video that explains all the ins and outs of how that worked. And I think it's like maybe I watched it once, maybe a few years ago, and very smart guy. I believe everything he's saying there is very factual. I've watched some of his other videos, and he goes into extreme detail as to all the little legal aspects as to how that worked. And there were some other aspects that were discussed that I don't remember here, that were also discussed about this movie as to what happened and transpired during that period of time.
Right. I had no idea that music could be like for a movie. I know that it's separate, but I didn't know that it could be like copyrighted separately to the point where like the music of the movie is not like technically allowed to be public domain, but the actual movie is.
Yeah. So, and I don't understand it all myself. I do know that legally, if I wanted to, I could, as long as if I remove the elements of the movie that are not copyrighted, I should be able to upload it to a YouTube channel and just get away with it. There shouldn't be any legal issues. But finding out. But I do believe that, unfortunately, because the movie has that protection added to it, that the YouTube's copyright system will probably still flag it anyway, so it'll probably still be taken down or flagged. So,
Right.
but
Would you recommend this?
oh yes, I would definitely recommend this. And I understand the parts that you're saying. I do think that the part about the looking at it with a looking at it from a more objective position, I do think that the part about him and his wife getting married is very rushed and doesn't feel very real or natural. But if you can overlook that part and like the other part I said about like him being an alternate reality where somehow all the other events still transpired even though he was not there, which doesn't make any sense. If you can overlook that, it's a pretty good movie. So
Yeah.
but and I'm trying to think of anyone else. No one else. I'm not sure if I think my mother likes this. I'm not sure. But as far as being a Christmas movie, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a Christmas movie. I know it is, but I could say that you could watch this any time of the year if you really wanted to. And it like I said, the first 2/3 of the movie doesn't have Christmas at all, really. So
I would agree with that. I think it with the ending of like everyone pitching in the money is very like Christmas spirit-y, but the whole rest of it doesn't really give an aura of Christmas.
right. So, and as far as a final grade, what would you give this one?
I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10.
So now 10. Okay. I'd probably go a little higher. I'd probably say like a upper 8, like 8.9 out of 10. So
That's fair. Makes sense.
alrighty. Well, that was a review. And if anyone wants to leave any more comments, I do go back, by the way, into the comment sections afterwards to see if anyone leaves anything that we can talk about later on. So you can always leave a comment down below. And usually the comments are just like people saying, I like what you guys are saying or something like that. I should bring those up sometimes. So, but it's just simple comments saying they like what they're watching. So we thank you for those. So,
Thank you. Yes.
and let's go back to our question from the beginning. Looks like we have a pretty decent response so far. 130 votes. What holidays do you celebrate in December? Overwhelmingly 78% with Christmas, 8% with, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But that's interesting how high that is. I'm surprised it's blowing out Hanukkah. Oh my goodness. I would have thought Hanukkah and Kwanzaa would have definitely overpowered that one. We have a very large German population that watches this. So
Maybe if there is, happy Krampus not.
I think everyone knows what you're trying to say. After that, we have 7% with Kwanzaa, 5% with other, and only 2% with Hanukkah. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is. I would expect more Hanukkah.
Yeah, for sure. I do know that for a while, several years ago, I would often get a lot of people that said they were from Germany that were watching my videos. So that might be maybe there's still a lot of German people watching my videos. So thank you for that. So
yeah, happy to have you.
And we got one comment from, does that say Thorny? I can't read that. Snail Pictures. I'm not sure what the first word is. Thorny?
Yes.
New Year. That's actually a good one. Yeah. Technically, is New Year part of January, though? That would be January 1st, I think.
I don't know. I think it's a December holiday. I would say it's a December holiday because a lot of people have New Year's Eve parties, not New Year's Day parties.
That's true.
So,
yeah. And I remember that when I was in school, when I was a kid in school, in elementary and high school, I used to, up until New Year's Eve, like everything was always so cool because it was like I didn't have to go to school. And I remember New Year's Day was always the one day I hated because it's like, oh crap, now we got to go back to school the next day. So
yeah.
And I do remember, not that this is really relevant, but every year in the DC area, Channel 20, which is a big channel, used to run a marathon of Marx Brothers movies all day long for some reason on New Year's Day. I don't know why, but they would. And they would start it the night before, and they would run it through midnight and on through New Year's Day. And there was, I think, I don't know if I watched every single one. We didn't have a VCR back in the day, so I just sat there and watched them all day. So I had nothing else to do on those days. And then just New Year's Day was just really like, oh goodness, I'm just so depressed. Now I got to go back. Like I said, I go back to school, and I just watched them. So, alrighty. So that's it. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap everything up?
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, well, thanks everybody, and please, if you have the time, don't forget to check out our affiliate link in the description below for NordVPN. I would recommend them, and if you decide to purchase anything from them, that helps support our channel, and we, as always, we appreciate that, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Remember, watch the Christmas movies from all the countries using NordVPN.
That's a good point. Very good point. Yes, thanks for reminding me.